All right, so I wasn't going to do this video. I really told myself, I've made a ton of Game Awards videos. We talked about all of these different kinds of games. I'm going to leave this one, and in fact, one I'm going to talk about as well tomorrow. I'm not going to do it. But then I did a Twitter post, and it did really well, and a lot of people seemed excited, and it's like, you know what? It would be wrong of me to not at least throw it out there. So, guys, today's the day. We're going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. We're going to talk about if we're going to get something. It could be gameplay. It could be a trailer. Will we get something at the Game Awards? So, if you guys are new to this, I've talked about this and I'm sorry, I promised you guys an actual number. I don't have one. It's got to be over 20 games at this point that we've talked about. Could they be at the Game Awards? We talked about their individual situations. We've talked about, again, like what they could show at the Game Awards, and we've done that for quite a few of these different games, okay? So if you guys are a fan of that, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. And also, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, PodcastNow15, I tend to ask these questions that end up getting, responses that may turn into videos. So again, PodcastNow15, you can search me up there, or the link for my Twitter is in the description below, okay? So let's talk about this. This is, again, something I didn't necessarily want to, but I was like, no, it just wouldn't be right of me. I'm a more PlayStation-centric guy on this channel, so let's get into it. I think it's possible, okay? I think it's possible. I feel like... So the question I asked on Twitter was, do people want to see God of War or Horizon gameplay? That was pretty much my question. And I would say 95% said God of War. I think like 2 people maybe said Horizon. The rest said God of War. Now, I'm actually in the camp of like both. I mean, I would prefer both. Maybe it was a trick question. Maybe I wanted to hear you guys say both, but nobody did it, right? I think one person did it. But I think it's possible. I think Horizon is more likely. And again, I guess spoilers, that will be the video that we do tomorrow. We'll talk about Horizon if it's there. But I wouldn't throw out God of War. I wouldn't. I think God of War, well, here's the deal. Everybody wants to see gameplay. That's what I see floating around the internet, the most over the last couple weeks is gameplay at the Game Awards. As we talked about, you can only have, and I just recorded like a Hogwarts Legacy video right before this, and one of the things I made a mention of, and I do want to make a mention of here too, is like, I get it. Everybody wants these things. I think that they all have a shot. I'm not saying at all God of War doesn't have a shot. I think it does. I really do. And they all do. A lot of the games I've talked about, Horizon tomorrow. I've talked about Battlefield. I've talked about even Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. I mean, there's a lot of games we've talked about. I think a lot of them have a chance. Like, they fit some sort of criteria that Jeff Keely kind of sets. But they can't all be there. You know what I mean? The show is not 10 hours long. In fact, Jeff Keely has made that joke. Like, he could accept everything. He could show as much as possible, and the show would be 4 to 5 hours long. But they can't do it. They can't do that. Maybe one day, but they can't do it. And so that's important to note, that I know people want all these things. And I mean, I don't know if people are, like, blaming me for getting people like, so excited, because I have talked about, like, even the games I've talked about, if they were all there, that would be a 5-6 hour show, okay? So maybe you could say I'm part of the problem. I really don't think I am. I think I'm just trying to speculate and have some fun with these different games, and hopefully you guys understand that, right? But I think God of War is possible, but I don't think gameplay. So let's pretend. I will give an answer. I mean, well, let me give an answer right now. Do I actually think God of War Ragnarok will be there? No. Now, again, that's not saying that you guys can't hope for it. That doesn't mean that you guys can't expect it. You guys are individuals. That's always been the message on the channel, right? Is that you take my opinions into consideration, but I want you guys to think for yourselves. I want you guys to be yourself, okay? That's the whole point. And I think people do that, by the way. Sometimes people listen to me. Sometimes people don't, and that's okay. But honestly, this is a channel built on hope and optimism. We've talked about loads of these games before they even existed, and so many people said that I was crazy or I should just drop them, and they turned out to be real. So I'm not going to tell you guys to not hope for it, right? That's not my place to do it. But I would say, so I would say no, but I would say if you are expecting it, may I please, like, basically point your mindset at a trailer, just a trailer. Now, the trailer can have gameplay in it. I'm not saying the trailer can't have gameplay in it, but if people are expecting like a gameplay presentation, like even so much as like a 3, 4, 5 minute gameplay presentation, I don't think we're there yet. Now, I could be wrong. Because I've said this for some games, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like God of War is in a situation where you get a trailer next. Every game is different, that's for sure. Every game is different. But I feel like for these games, especially when we're talking about the Game Awards, you have to look at them and you have to say, okay, what comes next? What's like the next thing that this game needs to show based off of where it is? Like for Gotham, let's give a couple examples. Gotham Knights showed a trailer and gameplay, kind of unheard of in terms of like the first time you ever see a game, right? It was like an 8-minute gameplay presentation, and it was like a 3-minute trailer. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. The next thing they do could be either, because they've already done stuff. Now, we want to see Nightwing and Red Hood, gameplay, but they could show like a villains trailer, right? There's ways of them doing one or the other. Horizon. Horizon is one that is almost definitely gameplay. See, it's a little different than God of War. And why? Because we got a full, it was like, what, 3.5-minute long trailer. And it was a full trailer. Now, there were hints at what gameplay was going to be, but it was just a trailer, okay? So I think the next logical step for Horizon is to show the gameplay. God of War is kind of one behind all of these, right? Because they showed a teaser. They showed narration, they showed words, and they showed a logo. That's what they showed. And that's not a lot. That's not a lot of stuff. Not, what I'm saying it was bad? No, I almost had tears in my eyes. I was like, oh my dear Jesus, they're doing it, okay? So it was incredible. But I think the next step for them is just a proper trailer. Now here's again, even where I'll self-correct myself and I'll say, well, of course there's a possibility that they don't do that. I'm sure, now I can't think of any on the top of my head. I record these videos with a lot of them. I don't do any research, and maybe that's a bad thing. I think for videos like this I don't necessarily need to do a lot of research. It's just kind of me talking, right? But you guys will have to correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think right now of games that did a teaser and then immediately did gameplay. I'm sure they exist, and that's kind of the point. I'm sure a game does exist where they did a very brief teaser where they really didn't show much at all, and then the next thing that they did was they showed gameplay. Okay, so I'm not saying it hasn't been done. I'm sure it's been done. I just can't give you guys a specific example, okay? And so for the people that are optimistic on it, go again, like I want you to be, go ahead. It could very well happen. And God of War, to give you guys even more credit, God of War is a game that could happen to. You know what I mean? Where it's like, all right, well, it's such a big thing. Like a trailer obviously is going to set the stage, is going to explain some things to us, but what's stopping them from giving us, now I'm not saying at the Game Awards, by the way, this is not just at the Game Awards, but like the next time we see God of War in general, we could see gameplay. It's just like throw us right in there, you know what I mean? Just get us in there, show us a little bit of what's different, show us some of the mechanics, stuff like that, and then you could do a trailer after that. So I definitely think it's possible. Again, this is a game that I do think it's possible it's at the Game Awards. I would say no. I would say no because number one, and here's a couple of reasons I would say no. Number one, I don't think the game is going to be 2021. I know they said that. I'm not saying like, they lied to us. I know they said 2021. I think a lot of their games are getting delayed internally. We've talked about it before. Horizon Forbidden West was delayed internally, and now it's coming out in the fall of 2021. So unless Horizon and God of War both release next fall, which would be incredible, and it would be maybe the best fall lineup for PlayStation ever, I don't think it's going to happen. I think God of War will be pushed into early 2022. I made a video kind of talking about that. I think I saw a lot of people that agreed with me, so I will say that. So that's number one, is that it's still actually a while away. And to be fair to like games like Ratchet and Clank, and now I'm not saying like these games are going to get like more promotion than God of War, but they're going to get more in the short term. Ratchet and Clank, Kenna, Horizon Forbidden West, there's more of them too, right? These are games that come out first. So I get to give people like, expectations of what's to come in the future. That's one thing. But another thing, the second thing, I think the most important thing, Sony, and this is maybe the last thing I'll say to wrap it up, Sony is already going to be there with a Silent Hill game. Now, I've been saying this for a while. I'm not willing to put my career on the line, but I'm willing to say, like, I very heavily believe that this is going to happen. Okay, and we'll have to see if it does or if it doesn't, but I do think that the new Silent Hill game is going to be there, and that is from Sony. And again, another tidbit from Jeff Keely, if you guys have watched my other videos, you've heard me say this, is he doesn't want to make these shows he does like an E3 conference for a specific company. So like Sony, he doesn't want to give them 5-6 announcements because then Microsoft and Nintendo feel left out. Sometimes they actually get mad at him. Okay, stuff like that, right? So that's important to note. I mean, if you want Silent Hill, if you want Horizon, if you want God of War, if you want, say, another random PlayStation game, right? That's 4. Even if you do God of War and Silent Hill, that's already 2. Say Nintendo gets 1. Say Microsoft gets 0. Like, does that look good? I don't really think so. And I get it's not like a politics show, but in a way, he has to be careful, and he has talked about that in the past. Like, it's not a politics show, but he does have to be wary of the companies, just in general, right? So I would say because of how far it is to come out, what we're expecting to see next, in my mind, it's just a trailer. It's not a gameplay trailer. That part actually makes it more likely, though, because that's like a worldwide reveal. Yes, we got a teaser, but I think you could still call it that because you'd be showing the first full official trailer for God of War Ragnarok. So I actually think that part of it makes it more likely. If you guys want gameplay, if that's what you're expecting the Game Awards, I almost feel like that makes it less likely than a normal trailer. That's just my opinion. I mean, when they show gameplay, you can all tell me I'm wrong, and I will happily, by the way, I will happily be wrong on that. But that's just what I think. And I also think, again, there's other games that are coming out sooner. Sony's already going to be there with Silent Hill. I don't know how much Jeff Keely is going to give to one specific publisher. Maybe I'll write it down. When it's going on, maybe I'll track some stats for it so we can better predict this next year for the 2021 Game of the Year Award. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think God of War Ragnarok will be there? Think it'll be a trailer, gameplay? Let me know. Again, as always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, PodcastNow15. You can search me up, or the link for it is in the description below. One more time, PodcastNow15. I know I talk super fast, and I'm really sorry about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.